what you gonna do, brother?
Oh, yeah!
Woo! What? What?
If you smell what the rock...
You got the wrong guy. I'm the dude, man.
Welcome to Around the Turnbuckle. I'm the Big Alboski, back and better than ever after a COVID hit, Professor Keith. COVID knocked the shit out of me, brother. How you feeling?
I'm all right. Everybody around me seems to get it. I seem to keep avoiding it.
You're immune. I think you're the Superman. I think there's an outbreak where you work, I heard, and you're the only guy that hasn't got it.
I mean, people are getting it.
We
here
got
and there,
comments
but
coming on. The Big Alboski, the Iron Voice, the Big Alboski, and Professor Keith. Whoop, whoop. JX No One. He's stoked. He's stoked, Keith. Chris Vant, watching the football playoffs there. I hope the 49ers are whooping some ass. And
They
yeah,
are.
baby, glad y'all are back. We are back. We are back, and we are better than ever. And we are having technical difficulties. This happens sometimes. This happens during a storm. Jesus, there's a storm going on here. Down in Tennessee, they got snow going on, as our good friend Tanner Nyx has been trying to get on. And Tanner Nyx is here. Make no mistake about it. If you tuned in to listen to Tanner Nyx, he is in the building. The problem is we're having an internet issue on his end. And if he's watching and if he can hear me, I need him to call me. I need him to call me right now on Facebook Messenger. If he calls me right now, we will get him on the phone and we will be able to hear him. We won't be able to see him. That's all. Glad to see you all. Ghost Killer 30, thank you very much, my brother. Wait a minute, Keith. I think we got him.
Oh.
Hi, Tanner.
Oh, there he is. I don't know if he can hear us. I think
Can
he
you
can't
hear us?
No, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
All right. I can't hear Big Al. I can't see him.
Okay.
You're not missing anything there.
All right, Tanner. Can you hear us, my man?
He can't hear you. He can't see you. He can only hear me.
Well, good. Then you can ask the questions, Keith. So he can't hear me, but he
So I
can hear
guess
you.
I'll just be translating whatever you have to say.
Got it. Well, welcome him. Go ahead. If
Do I
you
need to
can't
step
hear me.
out and then come back in to see if it might load him up too?
I mean, you can try it if you want and see if it works.
All right. Give me 1 second.
All right, he will be back with us. Keith, you can hear me, right? I'm not insane.
I can hear you. It's something on his end. Like
Okay,
I said,
good.
it's probably like you say. It's
These
the
are the
storm.
technical difficulties that we have very often, whether or not somebody is like Raven Knight. Big shout out to Raven Knight, by the way. She's been on my case to get her on here. You know, my COVID interruption kind of took her off the page, but she will be with us on the 30th, on Sunday the 30th. Raven Knight from Jersey will be here from ECPW. So shout outs to Raven for hanging in there. Shout outs to you, girl, for getting back with me and getting on here ASAP. And we owe you that interview, and we can't wait to have her on here. 49ers 16-7 at halftime. That's a bloody shame.
Yeah, I think they scored on like the first drive in like the opening minute or something. It's not a good day to be a Cowboy fan.
Keith, nothing makes the pill that is the Philadelphia Eagles season easier to swallow than the Cowboys going down too.
But didn't you kind of look at it like, hey, we got here, which is better, you know, like you guys didn't expect that.
No. Ask my wife. My wife, like, you don't really expect to win, do you?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's the GOAT. It's Tom Brady. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Yeah, I was just happy the Ravens like overperformed. I mean, it would have been nice to beat the Steelers and end Roethlisberger's career right there, but I'm happy with the season they had. Because everybody was like, oh, if they're 500,
hell yeah, TNT is here. Damn internet. We're waiting on him, man. We're going to get Tanner in here. If you guys have tuned in to watch Tanner's interview. We will get him in here. If he still can't hear me when he comes back, Keith, then you know the questions, man. Ask him how he got into wrestling in the first place. Get him started. Possibly. That's our MO. We have interviewed other TWA stars who are watching right now, including JX No One, including Greg Thundercat Winters. Big shout out to all the boys in TNA, TWA. Big shout out to our boys in Tennessee. How you guys feeling on CM Punk? Well, CM Punk does what CM Punk wants to do, right? CM Punk, you get what you get with him. So, I mean, I hope they're ready for that.
I mean, he's doing a good job with, obviously he's motivated to try to help MJF get to that next level. And I hope MJF can carry the load, because there are certainly times where I look at it and it's like, man, Punk's really getting the better of you, and it's really obvious on the mic that he is. So I hope MJF can come up to that level, because it does remind me in some ways of kind of the reverse of the Punk Raven thing, where here you've got the veteran trying to bring the young guy up, and the young guy's got to be ready for it. Punk was ready for it when Raven did it. I hope MJF is, for Punk turning around and doing the favor for him now.
Paul says, "What's up, guys? Enjoying this ridiculous snow? So far, so good.
I hear it's not supposed to be that bad over my way.
It may be late for the show, but yeah, where I'm at, I don't know about y'all, but where I'm at, I'm supposed to get 4 to 6 inches, and it's going to change over to ice. I heard Allentown and Peaburg and places like that are going to get 1 to 3.
Yeah, that's
change over to rain. The Iron Voice. I'm loving his free reign on the mic. Yeah, he's pretty much allowed to say whatever the hell he wants.
And I mean, that's really what it should be. I mean, scripting these guys is stupid. Bullet point, sure. Going out there and saying, don't extra curse or anything stupid like that, sure. But trying to tell somebody, okay, this is exactly what you're going to say. No. MLW, put that in your lawsuit. They're not just a monopoly, they're also bastards who script everybody. And that's terrible. Somehow tie that into your monopoly accusation. Please. For the love of the fans. I told you about that, right? I know you don't really follow the news sites anymore.
Hey, Tanner.
Hey, there we go.
All right. That's how we do that. All right.
That might be better for y'all. Y'all ain't got to see this ugly mug.
That's all right. You looked good, though. I like the hair, man. I like the hair. There's a lot of people watching for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me do this. And let me do this intro. Me and Keith were kind of filibustering there for a minute, talking about CM Punk. On the phone with us right now is one Tanner, TNT Nyx from TWA. What's up, Tanner?
Not much, guys. Trying to weather out this storm that we've got blowing through.
Now, what are they calling for down there in Tennessee? Because we're calling for different things up here.
To be honest with you, I know we're under a winter weather advisory.
Okay.
And where I'm at, we're smack dab in the middle of everything. And it's like it's just floating right up overhead, not wanting to budge at all around the area where I'm at. Got
it. Now, what I have going on here is I'm calling for 4 to 6 inches, and it's going to turn over to ice. And where Keith is, he's calling for 1 to 3 inches, and it's going to turn over to rain. He's a little bit further south off the mountain than I'm kind of up in the foothills of the Pocono Mountains where I'm at in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you're up in the old mining regions.
So Tanner,
I'm just to the west, I guess you could say, of the Appalachians.
Right.
So right at the base of the Appalachians, just north of Georgia. So
I gotcha.
Yeah, we're looking at probably a mix of the two.
Right.
What you just said, probably getting the inches as far as what Keith has been quoted, but it's also looking at temperature-wise, falling to the freezing side thereafter if it don't just stay slush.
Oh, I've been dealing with Arctic wind all fucking weekend. It's been horrible.
Yeah, it's been nasty, nasty cold winds, single digits past couple days here. All right, Tanner. So once upon a time, before you jumped in the ring and learned how to wrestle and started to live this dream of yours, you were a fan just like us. Am I wrong?
Oh no, you're definitely right.
Okay, and so when did that love affair start for you? Like, how old were you? Who were some of your influences? Who were some of the people that got you into wrestling in the first place?
Well, definitely the first person that ever got me into wrestling. I was sitting over at my grandparents' house, and my grandfather turned it on one night. I was probably about 5 years old, 6 years old, and I started watching it. And it was at the time that Ultimate Warrior had been called in. He was going real big, and the two biggest names at that point in time, the promotion was called WWF.
Right.
Was Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior.
Sure.
Two powerhouses. They were building up. They had just come off their run of WrestleMania 3. You know, everything was just piling up. It was getting hectic between the two.
Sure.
And so I ended up liking the charisma and stuff more of the Ultimate Warrior. But there was a lot of different technicalities that I ended up seeing from other wrestlers. But I'd have to say a big hats off to my grandfather for getting me into wrestling. And then my influences as far as how I've taken my career thereafter has been a lot to do with like the charisma of Ultimate Warrior. You know, Hugh Morris and his movesets and stuff like that, the bigger guys. I look a lot at them as what's driven me to where I am today.
Awesome. So you kind of got into wrestling around the same time I did. You know, I might have gotten into it just a little bit earlier than you, but I remember watching WrestleMania 3 live on pay-per-view. That was actually WWE's first official pay-per-view. And
Yes.
and so that's around the time I got into wrestling also. So yeah, that's a heck of a history.
I didn't get to watch it live, but it definitely was recorded, and it happened to be recorded VHS style over my brother's birth video. So it kind of was a heated topic in the house for a little while.
Oh man. Yeah, well, so how old were you when you said, hey, you know what, I want to do this?
Well, growing up, I wanted to wrestle. And so my dad found some programs around the area and stuff that allowed youngsters to wrestle and stuff as far as what we consider amateur wrestling or collegiate style wrestling. So I did that for about 3 or 4 years, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. There wasn't no body slams. There wasn't no, elbow drops or anything like that. And that was the showmanship and the part that I really thrived on. Now, granted, there was physicality, there was technical abilities, and, some of that's been taken into the professional aspect as well. However, that wasn't everything that I wanted. So as I got older, and as a professional wrestler, it's tough to say, yeah, I did it in the backyard and I did it on trampolines, stuff like that, because it's two totally different things. But I started, bouncing around the trampoline with some friends and stuff and going through tables in the backyard and everything. I loved it from that point. And then whenever my cousin got into it and ended up later becoming a booker at a promotion, I started talking with him about different things and decided, okay, around 2013, I decided to go ahead and throw my hat in the ring and started training at that point.
Awesome. And who trained you? And because I'm always interested to find out when somebody makes that choice, when somebody makes that decision, like, do they locally try to look and find somebody, or do you look something? How do you look something like that up? Like that piece of the puzzle sometimes eludes us when we interview wrestlers. They usually say, oh, well, this guy trained me, that guy trained me, this guy trained me, that guy trained me. But they never tell us how they started. Like, who did they call? Who did they get in touch with? Like, did they see an ad for a wrestling school or something? How did it work for you?
Right. So at the time, back in 2013, I'm sorry, was Professor talking?
No,
I wasn't. I was waiting my turn.
Okay. So it was kind of ironic because in 2013, I was a relief DJ at a bar and everything and doing my own little thing. Well, the guy that was the main DJ, he would take Saturdays off because he said that he had an announcing gig at a wrestling promotion. And I said, wait, like indie wrestling kind of thing? And he said, yeah. I was like, man, I'd like to check that out. And he said, well, one Saturday when you're not here, if you want to come out and check it out, you're more than welcome to. So he ended up inviting me out, and I took a weekend off of DJing and went out there and checked it out. And while I was there, I ended up speaking with the promoter and booker of that promotion. And he said, well, we got a guy right now that's doing training and everything like that, and we could talk with him about getting you into actually training to be a wrestler. I said, okay, not a problem. So about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, something like that, it was 2 Saturdays after my first arrival there, I got my first training session. And I was trained by a guy named Joey Idle out of North Georgia. And we started going over things. He's like, well, we also need some refs. I know you're wanting to be a wrestler, but let's train you, the last couple minutes of this training session, train you to be a ref, and you can pay your dues in that aspect.
Right.
I said, okay, not a problem. So literally a 10-minute crash course on reffing. And I've been watching wrestling all my life, so I knew the ins and outs for the most part. There's still the timing aspects and stuff, and how aggressive to be as a ref in the ring. Because a lot of people think, okay, it's just getting in there and counting, it's breaking them up. There are ways to break them up.
Right.
That way it's not offensive and it don't capture the show, and it still allows them to carry the show. So I learned that, being a ref, a good ref is being there, but not being seen.
Right.
So to let them do their job, and then you interject whenever you need to be. You're there to make the counts, all that good stuff. So he trained me for 10 minutes on that. Took me down the road about 10, 15 minutes from the promotion where we were training at to another promotion. Had me ref his match there, and then I rode back with him the other way to the original promotion and did reffing that night there. So from the get-go, from my first training, it was straight up, I was thrown into reffing to pay my dues. Later on, ended up announcing as well. And I had to take a year off because I had some family issues with some deaths in the family.
Okay.
Whenever I came back, they stated that, Joey wasn't all the time there, but this other guy was. The other, he participated in WCW, like dark matches, stuff like that, named Jess Wade.
Oh.
He used to be in a tag team with Racer X and stuff like that.
Right.
But Jess Wade ended up polishing me up.
Okay.
And then there's another guy named Michael Cross from the North area. He took wing the tag partner that I ended up having him showing me the ropes, doing like a Mikey Whipwreck kind of thing. So it was very interesting getting into it. It's just trying to put myself out there and get better each time I go out there now.
So, go ahead, Keith. You got something?
Well, one thing I wanted to ask about, because I think this would be interesting for, aspiring wrestlers, which we always try to throw some things out, some ideas out there for them. You mentioned you did collegiate amateur wrestling first. How much do you think that helped you? Is that something that if you were to talk to an aspiring wrestler, say somebody at the high school level that comes to you and says, man, Tanner, I know this is what I want to do. I want to turn pro. I want to do this. Would you say to them, hey, you should probably go try out for the wrestling team. You should get these skills. Do you feel like that helped you in any way? Did that make training easier? Does that make working in the ring easier in any way for you?
Well, I mean, honestly, everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, yes, it made things easier on the technical front. With the arm locks, the ground and grapple and stuff like that. Do I advise it to everyone? I mean, each person, like I said, is their own individual. Does it help to have any kind of amateur collegiate style wrestling or any kind of martial arts background, stuff like that? Yes, it does help. But is it something that's advised? I mean, to have a little bit of something underneath your belt, would be advised in anything that you do. But if you've got a golden ear, if you will, whenever you go in there, you just listen and you're a sponge and you absorb what your trainers are trying to teach you and everything like that, then there wouldn't be a problem if you just come in off the streets not knowing anything from, just watching it on TV.
I got a question for you from a comment from a fan. That Big Chris Vance says, who's the wrestler that you admire your style from? Is there certain wrestlers that you kind of take, maybe from 2-3 different guys and make that your style?
Yes. I actually, like I mentioned earlier, one of my biggest influences in the beginning was Ultimate Warrior. The charisma, I like to have the charisma coming out, but at the same time, I like to have that sincerity. Me being posed as like the 80s rocker, 80s rockers always love to have fun with the crowds and stuff, but they wanted to be serious whenever it comes time for their art.
Right.
So the warrior aspect, yes, coming through the crowd and everything. Also take a little bit from Shawn Michaels and Ricky Jannetty back in the 80s and early 90s when they were the Rockers.
Sure.
Doing a little bit of that stuff. Looking at Venice Beach Sting and that aspect.
Surfer Sting.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then taking a move set as well from like big guys such as Hugh Morris and stuff like that. It all just comes into the package of the TNT Tanner Nyx,
So tell us about him. Tell us about the birth of TNT Tanner Nyx. How'd that all start?
I was doing my primary promotion, the one where I started off training at and everything, and ended up getting put with Michael Cross as a tag team partner.
Yeah.
We was having trouble coming up with, a worker name. Couldn't figure out what that is. And I'm not sure if this is divulging too much, but you've got what we call in the business a shoot name and a worker name. A shoot name is your real name.
Right.
Worker name is your stage.
Right.
So Tanner is automatically my shoot name. So I've got no problem with that. Plus, it's a little different. You don't hear a lot of Tanners.
Right.
Right.
So I was trying to figure out, something to go along with it. Well, I was big into mythology and stuff like that. And Michael Cross was as well. And so he threw out the name, what about Nyx? He said, even though in mythology, Nyx is a female, but she's still, the guardian of the rivers in the underworld.
Right.
You can guide them to their demise, pretty much. And I was like, well, Nyx don't sound half bad. So I took on the moniker of Tanner Nyx. I've went from being like a diabolical drummer, Tanner Nyx, to the artist, Tanner Nyx.
Rock star.
And then I ended up moving up to Indiana 2 years ago.
Okay.
And there's actually a guy up there already going underneath the name Tanner Nyx.
Wow.
Nyx is spelled different. I was like, okay. So I spoke with the booker up there, and he's like, well, let's run you as the Midwest rocker Maven Rose. Okay. Well, Maven sticks with the artist kind of thing.
Right.
And then Rose, I just took it from Axl Rose and just went with that. And so it all fit. Well, May of last year, I made my return back to TWA in Pikeville, Tennessee.
Right.
And my kids the ones that always call me daddy and stuff, they're like, well, you should run TNT as your entrance music. I said, why is that? And they said, well, it's Tanner Nyx time, TNT.
Tanner Nyx time. I like it. So you come down to the ring to TNT. Are you still there?
Uh-oh.
I think we lost him. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here, y'all.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, so you come down to the ring to TNT.
I did come down to the ring to TNT all of last year. At the turn of the year, I changed it up a little bit.
Okay.
Just trying to play around with something a little bit different.
Right.
Doing like Loverboy, The Kid Is Hot Tonight, or Turn Me Loose. But I'm not sure how well that's getting over at this moment.
Right.
Just trying to experiment with something because I was gone from TWA for about a month and a half, something like that.
Right.
And then come back at the beginning of January. And so I'm just trying to feel some things out because TNT's ran for a little while. And so I'm thinking about possibly just going back to that because everybody seemed to resonate with me more whenever that came out than what they are now.
So we've made some friends. We've made some friends in Tennessee, Keith, in the form of Greg Thundercat and JX No One, and so now this is our third guy from TWA. Name some of the guys that you take on a monthly basis or however often you guys do shows in TWA besides those two I just mentioned.
I mean, I'll definitely have to say, Professor, it's, as far as those two you mentioned, I've not had the privilege of taking on JX No One.
Not yet?
Not yet. He actually, he and I donate blood and stuff and plasma and all that. And we got to talking one day, and I told him about TWA, and he shot up there. And he ended up getting booked and everything. Had the chance to face him. No one has faced him. It is a privilege to be able to face such an athlete as himself.
He keeps cutting in and out.
I know. I keep hearing the same problem there.
All right, yeah. Well, he was talking about JX No One, and JX No One.
But other ones that I got. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now. Yes.
Okay, so other guys that I face and stuff like that is like Devin Diamond,
right?
Grand Moki, Blackwell Slasher, Brandon Justice, David Bundy, Outlaw Society, Outlaw 1 and 2.
The Outlaws, right?
I mean, the roster can go as deep and colorful as you imagine. I mean, the few guys that are up there on a continuous basis.
I got another fan question for you, Tanner. And that's Big Chris Vant from South Carolina. He's asking, would love to hear your dream match. If there's a wrestler that you've never wrestled that you would book yourself against, who would that be?
We talking past, present?
Yeah, pretty much anybody that's ever stepped in the ring, alive or dead.
Oh, Lord.
That opens it up.
Yeah. I believe it or not, I would love to be able to share a ring with guys like Benoit, Steamboat, even feel that adrenaline and charisma from the Warrior. But I mean, honestly, there's several guys on the indie scene.
Okay.
That I would love to, have matches with. The Unbreakable Billy Havoc is one of them. JX No One.
Which might happen.
Guys that I actually have, maybe later on down the road, right? There's actually a guy up in Indiana that I'm a good friends with, but at the same time, characters just don't add up as being on the right side of the line at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So on February 26th, I get a chance to meet him on the opposing side of the squared circle.
Oh wow!
So that's one dream match that'll be actually held. His name is the Psycho Survivalist Scott Alexander. He's a young guy up and coming out of Warsaw, Indiana.
The Psycho Survivalist, Keith.
Yeah, he's got a redneck voices in his head kind of survivalist look going on.
Awesome.
He's pretty up there with his character.
All right, so I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you, Tanner, with a question that I've asked everybody that comes on here, and that is, what do you want out of wrestling? Because some guys do it. They start young and they had dreams of getting to the WWE, and maybe they fell a little short, but they still love it, so they still do it. Or there's guys that just love it so much that it's a part of their lives, and you might have a shoot job, during the day, but on the weekends, or you're training all week, and then on the weekends you're wrestling. So, what do you want wrestling to be for you? I know you're a little bit older and you've been doing it a while now. You started back in 2013, so we're at 2022 now. So what do you want for wrestling here going forward?
I mean, my age is probably topped out. I probably won't make it anywhere big. It would be awesome if I had the chance to do that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've told people before, I said, this is my outlet. I don't like doing therapy or anything like that. So all the aggression and animosity that I build up through the week, this is my outlet. This is my therapy. Whether if I train at a gym or I train out in the yard, or even if I do heavy lifting at work or whatever, that's all part of the therapy that leads up to the weekend. So whether if I make it big or whether if I stay, local or do a little bit of traveling, I want this wrestling to be in my life. And, even if I'm not a direct influence on someone, whether it be helping them out in training or psychology speaking or whatever, maybe something of me can rub off on them, just trying to be humble about everything, just showing them the way a little bit, giving a little bit of a bending ear for someone who needs to talk, or a small bit of advice for someone who's willing to listen. I just want to be a part of it as I grow with the company and with the business and everything like that.
Speaking of advice, if there was a young guy who's like in his low 20s watching this right now, and there was some advice that you could give him, what would that advice be?
The best advice I ever heard, and I mentioned it earlier in the show,
mm-hmm.
Be a sponge.
Mm-hmm.
Absorb everything that these vets have to tell you. They might not all be your trainer or something like that, but each vet, no matter what they say or how they say it, there is a part of it that will resonate with you through your entire career in the business. Be a sponge, absorb it, try to apply it. Don't overstep your trainer by asking for someone else's help.
Yeah.
If somebody poses an idea to you or something like that, speak to your trainer first, but still be a sponge and keep it on the back burner for maybe later whenever you get out on your own away from the trainer and you're just working out on your own after your training's complete. But pretty much be a sponge, absorb everything that you can take in from the vets, listen, and try to apply it to your craft.
Excellent. If you are done, and when I say done in the ring, meaning you get to a point where you're like, okay, every wrestler gets to that point. Some guys do it when they're, 35, 40, 45, whatever. And they get to a point where they're like, all right, I can't put the best show in the ring that I used to. When you get to that point, do you see yourself staying in the business, whether it be promoting, whether it be training, or something to that? I mean, do you love the business that much? That's what I'm getting at.
Oh man, we got a gentleman down there right now. He just turned 50 years old. Mr. Keith Knight. He runs the Knight Foundation. He's a manager. He's been in the business for, I believe he said, like almost 30 years or right at it.
Right.
The way that I love this business, I see reflections of him and his admiration for the business and his love for the business, passion, resemblance of what I have. Whenever I get to that point, I still want to be involved with it some way, somehow, whether if that's helping out the up-and-comings, whether if that's helping out promoting, whether if that's helping, just being a manager for some of these guys. I would love to still be a part of it instead of just fully stepping away. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these wrestlers and stuff, they've been doing it for a long time. They might need to step back and take a break. And I understand that, to recharge their batteries and come back in. I completely understand that. Take some family time. Family's important.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I want to see me, I don't care if I've got more gray hair than what I currently have. I still want to be stepping foot into an arena, and entertaining these crowds.
The thing that Keith and I love most about meeting you guys and talking to you guys about wrestling and your career and how you feel about wrestling is there seems to always be a common denominator. And that common denominator is passion for this business. Your passion for this business equals all that of your colleagues. I mean, there's guys you can tell that are in it for different reasons, but underneath whatever reason they want, whatever they want out of wrestling, it doesn't seem to matter. What matters most is that they don't do this to get rich. They do this because they love performing. They love performing in front of a crowd. They love that adrenaline rush they get when the crowd pops, when they do something, when they, even if it's their entrance or whether it's their, they do an amazing move in the ring or whatever, that adrenaline is like no other. And so I commend you and every wrestler that's ever stepped into the ring for putting your bodies on the line for my entertainment and for all the entertainment of all the people that you've wrestled in front of in Tennessee or wherever else you've wrestled, man, because I admire that. And the Professor Keith admires that wholeheartedly. That's why we still love this business that's why I've been a fan of this business for 40 years. And in Keith's case, 30 years.
I greatly appreciate that. I'm pretty sure, every other wrestler that's out there, or even managers, anybody that works in the business, they appreciate that because we would be nowhere without fans and people that follow us like what y'all do. Because, like you said, a hot dog and a handshake or a hamburger and a handshake, that's not going to get nobody rich. We're looking at maybe a little bit on the overweight side. But as far as, a hefty and deep pocket, that's not going to happen. So, it's because of people like y'all that we're able to actually come out and do what we do and do what we love.
Well, we support our local wrestling here in the Pennsylvania area, but we also encourage anybody that watches this to support your local wrestling. There's wrestling to be had. You can find it. If you're in Texas, if you're in the southern states, especially, it's big everywhere. You can find wrestling locally. You can find wrestling locally in almost every state. And all you need to do is look it up on the internet, on Facebook, social media, and you pop it up, you find it wherever you're closest to within driving range. Trust me when I tell you that it's not an expensive night. You go and you have a good time, and these guys put their bodies on the line. I'm telling you, it's better than anything you'll see, especially nowadays on WWE or AEW. I mean, that was my next question to you, Tanner, was do you pay any attention to the mainstream wrestling now as a fan, as far as TV goes, as far as things like AEW and WWE and NXT? Do you pay any attention to that?
Put it up until they did their split and things went awry. It just kept getting monotonous week in, week out. I kind of stepped away from WWE. I have tried looking at some AEW stuff. I mean, there's some great things going on between MJF and CM Punk right now.
Right.
I'm loving that. I mean, there's some guys that are even on AEW Dark that I've had a chance to actually sit down and pick their brains with and stuff like that.
There you go.
And I mean, just this past weekend up here at TWA in Pikeville, Tennessee, we had Cyrus the Destroyer, who's been on AEW Dark several times.
Right.
I used whenever I was up in Warsaw, Indiana, wrestling out at FWF. There was a guy out there named Isaiah Moore. He goes by the Human Highlight. He's in the tag team division on AEW Dark.
Right.
Had a chance to be in the ring with him a couple times. So, I mean, honestly, AEW has more of my attention than what the big guy, if you will, has. I don't really follow Impact that much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my main sources that I do is, I go back and watch the old school where it was territories.
Right.
I'll do a lot of my studying and a lot of my walk.
And who are you primarily studying there? Like, are you studying a specific guy? Are you studying a specific territory? Are you trying to just kind of do a best of? Like, when you're popping in something and you're going to study something, what are you studying?
Psychology with technical stuff like that. Looking at stuff, the old school Ric Flair, whenever he first come in, going up against Harley.
Like NWA stuff.
Watching things. Right. Things with checking out those old school guys, watching where they come from. And it's amazing to see what they ended up accomplishing from where they came from.
Yeah.
Looking back, I actually was researching some stuff. Say with, give me 1 second. Hey, you okay? Come on. There.
Barking at nothing.
Had a little one wants to run the mouth, yeah. Little chihuahuas will get to you. But looking back at different things, whenever I started trying to figure out, well, how's this character going to be built? How is, Tanner TNT Nyx going to be built? I did go back and I researched the Blade Runners, Sting and Warrior, before they became their own individual entities.
Sure.
I did research on, Hugh Morris back before he became who he ended up being.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man,
super underrated is Hugh Morris, I think. Super underrated.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Hugh Morris ended up being a heck of a trainer down the road, Keith, after a while, right?
I mean, there's some story. Some people will tell you it's great. Some people will tell you he wasn't. I kind of look at it like, I know it's probably popular right now to say, he wasn't the best guy, but at the same token, it's like, okay, but he was also training guys that were paid to be there versus guys that were paying to be there and wanted to be there. So I do wonder if maybe some of the horror stories were just, look, he wanted you to take it seriously and you didn't take it seriously. I don't know. I wasn't there. Wasn't there. It was Owen.
we got 2 more questions. I mean, Big Tanner, go ahead, Tanner.
You can tell as watching Hughes, history from whenever, he broke into, up whenever he finished. They never really pushed him further than a mid card, but you could always tell, no matter what character he was portraying, he always brought the intensity. He brought his A game and everything like that. No matter if it was, him going under to whoever, he always made it look the best to his ability.
Yep.
And I can understand, frustrations and stuff with some of the ones that, he was put in the ring with and stuff, and that might be where horror stories come from. But for a big guy, he could definitely move.
He can move, yes. No, oh, yeah. I mean, the guy could do moonsaults. Just saying.
Yeah. I ain't my neck on that right now. I ain't no Thundercat. Giving them 450 splashes.
Yeah, Thundercat can move. We've seen some of that. All right, so we got 2 more questions for you, Big Tanner. What's the future hold for Tanner TNT Nyx?
I'm hoping good things. I'm 3-time tag champ. At one at one promotion and 2 at the one that I'm currently at.
Cool.
Matter of fact, the most recent tag champ that I've held was with Thundercat. And so I'm hoping to try to eventually pick up a singles title somewhere down the road. And constantly keep my mind growing and evolving with the business. Learning psychology of ins and outs of what to do, what not to do.
Nice shout out, brother.
Why does this make sense versus the other? Say what?
Thundercats, nice shout out, brother.
Hey, no problem. Anytime, man.
We love Thundercat, man. Thundercat was one of our first guests when we first started the show, and it was great to get to know him and stay in touch with him. And full disclosure, Thundercat's a heck of a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I mean, he just as you see him in the ring, not necessarily whenever he's portraying a heel,
right?
Because man, he can be a devilish heel. But whenever he's out there baby facing the crowd and stuff, the genuine guy that you see out there, that's the way he is in the locker room. That's the way he is in personal life. And he's a great guy.
Awesome. All right, so go ahead.
As far as the future with me, I just hope to keep evolving and moving up, and that comes to, also where do I look at myself in the future with the business? I just want to be involved. I want to be a part of.
Sounds good to us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got an update on the 49ers and Cowboys score, Keith. 23-7 Niners.
It's brutal.
Yeah,
it's brutal for the Cowboys.
I couldn't happen to a better team. Sorry if you're a Cowboys fan, Tanner. All right, so
I'm actually a Saints fan.
All right, well then there you go.
I'd have to go underdog for whoever else.
Absolutely, that's what I always root for the underdog. All right, so our last question, my friend, and listen, then this hour has flown by, and we appreciate you coming on with us. We appreciate your time, your candor, and everything, and especially your advice to the young talent out there. Because if anything that we've become on this show, it's a place for young talent to come watch and learn and pick brains of guys who've done it for a while, and then also come on here and tell their story and what they want out of the business. I mean, next week we have a 17-year-old female, so I mean, and she's really excited to get started. So I mean, we've had them that young and that green, and we've had all the way up to WWE Hall of Famers. So and everything in between. So I want to thank you so much for coming on and telling your story, talking about TWA. I got a comment here from one JX No One.
Oh Lord.
Who says, just catching up, and after having had to restart my computer, thanks for the kind words, man. I can't wait to work with you. There it is. All right, so
that'd be something that we'd have to make happen.
The gauntlet's been thrown down, man. JX pulls no trust, he pulls no punches. All right, so my last question, and this is the question Keith and I always ask at the end, is we're gonna flip the script, and you're gonna interview us. If there's any question that you could ask, us, whether it be the same question for both of us or individually, what would that be? You still there?
Whether it be what, I apologize.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
What?
You're popping in and out.
Yeah.
All right. Tanner, can you hear me? Be careful. He hits hard.
Hope he hits hard in safe places. That's kind of the goal.
All right. If there's any question that you could ask us, what would it be? It's always a tough one, Keith.
Have y'all ever thought of talents?
Say that one more time.
With as many talents as y'all have had on there from down in the Tennessee area, have y'all ever thought about maybe making a trip down to check out and see what all the buzz is about?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm coming and staying at Thundercat's house. No,
does he know that? Did you clear that with him?
No, realistic. I'm kidding, Greg. I'm kidding. But I have family.
You better be kidding. He'll take you to work out with him.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and I know, and he'll stretch me out. I guarantee that.
Jim will stretch you. He'll blow you up. It'll be great.
Right? Yeah, you love it. You would love it. You sit there with your James E. Cornette tennis racket and start laughing at me. All right.
He'll pull out that mega.
That's the professor. Listen, my partner, the professor, is my version of James E. Cornette. But anyway. Listen, he's Greg's saying, "Let's go." I'm down. There it is. That's an invitation. All right. I was gonna say is I have family down in southeastern Kentucky. So that's not that far away. If I was able to from Pikeville, if I was able to hook up with my stepfather and my mother's family down there in Kentucky and maybe have a place to stay, that or Keith and I could just take a good old fashioned road trip and spend the night, either the night before the show or the night of the show. Definitely would love to come to a TWA live and meet everybody in person. It's been a pleasure to meet everybody that we have met from TWA, but it would be great to watch you guys in action and talk to you guys either before or after the show. It'd be awesome. So yes, the answer to that question is yes. We would love to do that.
Well, I mean, hey, every Saturday, we do post up links up on Facebook underneath Tennessee Wrestling Alliance, TWA. You can follow us on there to be able to see. You can follow us up on there to be able to see what all our stuff is and everything. It's got the prices, got a preview of matches and stuff that's going to be happening that night. We run every Saturday at TWA in Pikeville. I mentioned Warsaw, Indiana as well. FWF, Functified Wrestling Federation up there. They've also got a Facebook. They run bi-weekly up there. So, I mean, either one of those promotions, I can personally throw my hat in there and say, yeah, these are good ones to be able to attend.
Love it. Well, definitely going to do the road trip thing down to Tennessee and check out TWA one of these days soon. Maybe when the weather gets a little warmer and whatnot, but we have been following you guys on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of the matches, especially after we had JX No One on, and I always look. I always look, once a week or once every couple weeks or so. I always look on YouTube and look up some TWA wrestling, and your more recent shows are on there. Some of your matches and some of Thundercats matches, some of JX No One's matches with the Outlaw. So I catch it that way. So we do keep track of and stay in touch with everybody we have on here. If we can't be there personally, but I would love to come and watch you guys personally. That'd be great.
Hey, we'd love to have you, man. Love to have you.
All right, man. We're gonna get out of here. Keith, you got any parting gifts for my man?
Yeah, just want to thank Tanner for coming on, sharing his time, sharing his wisdom. I think it's great that you're trying new things, that you switched it up with the entrance music, that you're kind of trying all these new things out. That's great, because you hear too many guys that they have a set routine, they have what they do, and they don't want to break out of it, and the only way to better yourself, like you say, is to try new things, pay your dues, and try to just find what works. And sometimes that might mean going back to what you were doing before, but the fact that you're willing to experiment is great.
Oh, yeah, there's always trial by fire and stuff like that. And, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, it don't hurt to tweak it a little bit.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So
one more comment from Thundercat. He says, we'd love to have you. You better talk that one over with the wife. All right. Anyway, that being said, our guest tonight has been Tanner TNT Nyx from TWA. You can check their stuff out. Thank you very much. I want a big shout out to Chris Vant. Great show, guys. Thanks, he says.
Thanks, Chris.
Big shout out to JX No One, to Thundercat for supporting your boy from TWA. That's great. I love when they come on, Keith, and they throw comments and questions our way. It makes our jobs a lot easier. Tanner, you were awesome, man, because we asked you one question and you talked for 15, 20 minutes, and that makes our life easier too. So that's awesome.
That is not a problem.
That's awesome. I hope you had a good time. And I also hope and wish you the best of luck in anything you do, wrestling or otherwise. I hope you stay in contact with us. I hope you stay in touch with us. And if the only thing we ever ask in return is if you know somebody, especially somebody who's young, who is just starting out in the business and wants to help build their brand and build their name and get some practice being on a show like this, send them our way.
Oh, definitely. I got a couple in mind already. As a matter of fact, that one that I spoke about earlier, might send him your way and everything from up in Indiana.
Yeah, man. Just tell them to get in touch with me, and we'll set something up. As you know from dealing with me personally, I'm really easygoing, and we welcome everybody and anybody, and that's how we get guests. We have a new interview every Sunday night at 6:00 live here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't yet already subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe. Just hit that subscribe, that notification bell, and you will know when we are live. You can also go back and watch some of those old interviews with JX No One, with Greg Thundercat, with Hall of Famer Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat, and many other guys that we've interviewed over the years, promoters, referees. We're even I think, Keith, we got a ring announcer coming up soon.
Yeah, and I think we have a special interview on Saturday, don't we?
We do.
Yes.
We do. We have a special interview coming to you live from Quakertown on Saturday with the current 3WA Tag Team Champions, Dog Nation. That has been something that I personally have been wanting for a long time. Tanner TNT Nyx, thank you very much for being on Around the Turnbuckle, my friend.
Hey, not a problem. The only thing that I can say to anybody trying to reach out to y'all, try to hit them up during regular business hours, not at 2:00 in the morning.
He did text me. No, he did. He texted me 2 a.m.
Oh, shit.
Worst part about it is he's in our same time zone, so there's
he knew.
All right, man. Love you, brother, and I hope you have a great rest of your night, and I hope you have a great rest of your career, and we will be watching, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
There he is, Tanner, TNT Knicks. All right, Keith. Next Sunday. I'm sorry. This Saturday is our TNT. I'm sorry, TNT. This Saturday is a live show in Quakertown. Saturday morning, I will be on here to go over the entire card with JT Cage. It's been a normal thing for us to do the morning of every show for 3WA to come on here and just go through the card one by one.
Did you make him promise that he will talk about his match with Slayer and that he will not do his normal shenanigans?
Oh, I'm going to ask
he's all over Facebook saying he's not going to wrestle, he's not going to do it.
Yeah,
and personally, if I'm Dino Santa, I say if he's not going to honor his commitment, you strip him.
I got a little surprise for him, but we'll have to check that out on Saturday morning. And then on Saturday night, Keith and I will be in Quakertown for 3WA's monthly event this month. Lots of great card. Come on down and see us. Come on down and see us. Come on down and see the stars of 3WA in Quakertown. If you're in the Quakertown area, Allentown area, and you want to come down, and it's $15, get you in the door, and you'll have a great time. And you'll meet us. You'll meet the wrestlers. It's always a good time. 3WO, Dino Santa, and the boys. Shout out to everybody there. We will see you guys on Saturday. And on Sunday, January 30th, 6 p.m. live, we will be live one-on-one with the brat, Raven Knight. She's finally here, and what she's got to say and where's her career going, we're going to talk to Raven. Shout-outs to everybody involved tonight. Thank you so much for chiming in. To Thundercat, to JX, to TNT. You should have Cyrus on. I think we're going to work on that. TNT is going to help us out there, Jay. All right. So, Keith, it's been a pleasure as always, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
We're out of here. You got any last minute items up for bids? No?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything. Thank you as always to the audience, to the fans and the guys and everybody that tunes in. You know, we can't do it without you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for supporting your man, Tanner. Tanner was absolutely awesome, and we can't wait to have him on again, and we will. All right. That being said, Keith, we are out of here.
Yep. Be safe out there, folks. If you're in the path of the snowstorm,
we will see. Yes, be careful out there. If you're out there, don't be messing with the snow. Don't be messing with the ice.
Yeah.
You know, especially in our area here in New Jersey, Pennsylvania area here. Be careful out there. If you have to go out there, you know, just check on the roads first before you do anything crazy. He is the professor. I'm the Big Alboski. This has been Around the Turnbuckle. We will be back on Saturday. See you then.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you gonna do, brother? Oh, yeah! Woo!